And we are back. It is time for the Champions League quarterfinals. We really are hitting crunch time of this season, and we kick off today's week of videos with 2 games in the Champions League tonight. We will be back tomorrow with 2 more before the Europa League and Europa Conference predictions on Thursday. Before we get into today's predictions, a quick reminder as always that if you do enjoy this series, to please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. As you just heard, we are going to be posting daily this week, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any of this week's predictions. Let's get into a very crucial night of Champions League action. And we start with Benfica up against Inter Milan, one of the surprise packages of this year's Champions League in Benfica, taking on one of the 3 clubs from Italy that have made it into the quarterfinals. And although this isn't Club Brugge, obviously Benfica absolutely demolished Club Brugge in the last 16, I do think this is a game that Benfica probably should be winning tonight. Yes, they did lose at home to Porto last weekend, which is quite a good indicator for this fixture, as Inter Milan did knock out Porto in the last round. But Benfica have been so good this season, and Inter Milan have been absolutely horrific recently. They have not picked up a win in any of their last 5 matches. Benfica had been winning every single one of their games up until their defeat to Porto this weekend. So with all those things considered, I have to go for a Benfica win tonight, and I'm going to go for 2-0. Inter Milan have not been very prolific in front of goal, despite having the likes of Lautaro Martinez and Romelu Lukaku available to them. So it's going to be an interesting game. I just think Benfica have the edge. This is the competition they're doing so well in. They're the competition top scorers, and I'm expecting them to continue to do really well tonight. Will it be enough to see them through when it comes to the second leg next week? We shall see. But for tonight, I'm back in Benfica, and I'm going for a 2-0 win. Now, while barely anyone is going to be watching that game, sadly, the majority, if not nearly every single person tonight, is going to be watching the second game, which is, of course, Manchester City taking on Thomas Tuchel's Bayern Munich in the João Cancelo derby, as he is eligible to play against his parent club, despite the fact that Tuchel has not really been picking him since he took charge. Now, this is a really tough one to call. Bayern Munich were obviously fantastic against PSG, managing to keep them out for the full 180 minutes that they played against them in the last 16. Manchester City obviously have been scoring for fun, especially in their second leg against RB Leipzig, where they wrapped up 7 with Erling Haaland scoring 5. So the problem is Thomas Tuchel is now the man in charge of Bayern Munich, so we don't really know what sort of Bayern Munich side we're going to see tonight, and we know what sort of side we're going to see from Manchester City, unless Pep Guardiola does one of his crazy Champions League mix-up of formation and style of play and puts in players that haven't played for a few weeks, like he has done so many times with Manchester City over the last few years. But I think he's going to stick with his 3-2-4-1 formation that's been doing really well for him over the last few weeks. Thomas Tuchel has come in, implemented his 3-back a little bit more stable than what it was like under Nagelsmann. He's tried to secure them a little bit more defensively, granted the fact that they did keep those 2 clean sheets against PSG. Under Nagelsmann, they were conceding an awful lot in the league. Since Tuchel's took over, they've been a little bit better defensively, so I'm expecting a more defensive outfit from Bayern Munich. The flip side is, though, they've not been scoring as many goals. So with all of that considered, I think probably the most likely scoreline tonight is a Manchester City win that isn't too comfortable, but it's probably a little bit more damaging than Bayern Munich would hope, and that is a 3-1 win to Manchester City. But I really do think anything's possible in this one. There's a lot of tactical things that have to be considered that are really unknown. We don't know what Guardiola's really going to do. We don't know what Tuchel is really going to do, and I just sort of have to base this prediction based off of what I've seen over the last few weeks from these 2 clubs, which is a Manchester City team full of form and a Bayern Munich team that are playing slightly better but not scoring as many. So we'll see what happens. I'm backing Manchester City. Kind of like with the other game, will it be enough to see Manchester City get through? I'm not so sure at this point in time, but I'm backing Manchester City to get the 2-goal lead going into the second leg, as I did with Benfica in the first leg. All that is left to say for today's video is to comment down below your thoughts on my predictions, your predictions as well for tonight's games, and I will be back tomorrow morning with the second set of games in the Champions League quarter-final first legs. Thank you very much for watching.